Good morning. As a habit, I'm saying good morning, Mr. Patil. But it's not good morning. Good evening. I hope you had a beautiful day. I hope your day was great. You know, how was your day? Good. I was like, good morning yet again, Mr. Tarun. Just made it in time for the prime time to look into the future. Well, good night it is today. Yeah. I just said good morning to Mr. Patil, you know. Mistakenly. Mistakenly, of course. Now, let me just message my folks on WhatsApp. Just 1 second. So it's gonna be, there we go. YouTube, LinkedIn, YouTube, and LinkedIn. There we go. 91st episode. 91st episode. Dear folks, 91st episode of Thinker's Frequency, daily dose of insights and analysis. Just 1 second, folks. Yeah, here we go. Done. Everybody is informed. They should be joining any minute now. Let's see what our TRP is for the primetime show. I had a great time today. Just in case, with the, you know, meeting with Bichandani sir, Sanjeev Bichandani sir. They say don't meet your heroes. They're so wrong. They're so wrong. You should meet your heroes, definitely. Sometimes they are very nice people, extremely nice people, absolutely amazing people. So Bichandani sir is just a thorough gentleman, a really sweet person, and the way he treats people, like even me, like I'm a very young person, right? I'm like, he doesn't need to be so kind to me, but he is, and that's what makes him very, very different, because it's just extraordinary. Just think about it. I told you, right? I wrote that thing where I said the kind of companies that he's built, the kind of stuff he's done, the kind of scale he operates at, but yet he can find like 2 hours, 2.5 hours for somebody like me, and it's just extraordinary, right? And be so kind and be so nice, so congenial. It's just extraordinary, uh, unparalleled, I'd say. You know, so I hope to be able to release that soon. I have my people working on it. My great audio guy and my great video guy. So they're gonna come out with the product, and I hope you like it. So we had a very, my goal was, because I've watched everything that Sir has been a part of, every book that he's been a part of, he's contributed to. I've read everything that he's posted on Twitter. So my goal was to not go into anything that has been mentioned on the internet already, right? I just wanted to talk outside whatever has already been covered, and I was 70% successful, because we did end up covering a few things that he's already said, but 70% new stuff. So that was a win for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't talk much to him about my startup which I'm building. That conversation didn't really fly today, but maybe some other day. Maybe, maybe some other day. We live to fight another day, right? So that's what we're doing. But I'm sure you like the conversation. So let's begin. I guess you can hear me. I hope you can hear me. I can just check my audio on people, like even me. Like I'm a very perfect. Sounds good. Hey Nishant, good to join in here. Elevate at the rate life. TRP is better. We have like 20 people already. 9 on LinkedIn, 9 on YouTube. So we have usually got like 7 to 13 people on an average. Right now we have a lot of people. So let's begin. The show that we deserve. The show that we deserve. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thinker's Frequency. We're having such a good time. This is the peak of human civilization. We're working so hard, doing such good work for ourselves, our parents, our kids, our siblings, our husbands, our wives, our friends, everybody. Well, not other people's husbands and wives, I hope. And just when we thought things couldn't get any better, like they couldn't possibly get any better, well, they just did. Call it divine intervention, folks, but things just got a whole lot better. Now we have Thinker's Frequency, our daily mental workout, our daily dose of insights and analysis which don't lead to paralysis right before we punch in. So let's continue with our journey of reading between the lines, things that are especially interesting and important in the world of business and finance. Let's go! Oh, but before we go, we got to follow a tradition, right? You know the tradition. The sweet and sacred tradition of the simultaneous sip. We'll all sip something together and it'll bring us good luck, as it always does, every day, without fail. And all you need for the simultaneous sip is a cupper, mug, a glass, a tank, a chalice, a stein, a canteen jug, a flask, or a vessel of any kind. Pour it with your favorite liquid. Today I'm having milk. It's the different time of the day, right? And here we go. Ah, beautiful. Let's do it again. Wonderful. You know what the simultaneous sip says, right? You know what it says? It says that you're not alone. It says that we are in this together. And that's such a beautiful thing to say. With that out of the way, let's begin. Mr. Singh asks, Sandeep Singh, hey, have you changed the time for Thinker's Frequency? No, we have not. So today I have had a meeting in the morning with Sanjeev Bichandani sir. I even wrote an article about it. That's why we couldn't do it. So it's just one day. We're going to be there tomorrow, 8 a.m. Let's begin. The World Leaders Forum, the Economic Times meet is happening. And Mr. Modi has said something that he's been talking a lot about recently. So there's a new frame which is happening in the Indian political business atmosphere, which is the lost decades. Now, viewers of Thinker's Frequency would remember how we talked about lost decades, where Mr. Modi and Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav claimed that Mr. Robert Noyce, the founder of Intel, had come to India in mid 1960s. Was it 1964? Yes. So they claimed that Mr. Robert Noyce of Intel came to India to set up a manufacturing unit as far as chips are considered in 1964, but he was turned away by the license Raj, the bureaucratic Raj of the Indian government at the time. Now, this was a pitch that we are not going to lose out on such opportunities now. Now, viewers of Thinker's Frequency might also remember how we tried to fact check the whole claim, right? Did Mr. Noyce indeed come to India in 1964, right? And we talked about how it is very difficult to actually adjudicate whether that is true. So I checked, I went out of my way, and I actually tried to fact check whether Mr. Noyce actually visited India. So the best I could find was Intel's letter of mid 60s and even 1969, where they wanted to explore Asia, right? Explore Asia. But nowhere was India mentioned explicitly. Now, that is not, as far as fact check is considered, that is not a no, that is not a yes, right? So then I went deeper and I found, tried to find whether there were any claims of visits. So I tried to look at Times of India archives from 1964, confirming Mr. Noyce or Intel's, let's say, visit to India. Very difficult to find, couldn't find it. Again, not a confirmation whether it is truth or lie. But then I found an admission by a very senior architect of Intel, Pentium, who claimed that Mr. Noyce indeed considered India, but ended up going to Southeast Asian countries, the other countries where it went, right? Where did it go? Singapore or Malaysia? Some of the other country. And now I try to fact check that. And he based his assumption on Mr. Vineet Dham's claim, as far as Mr. Noyce wanting to come to India. Now, again, after all the fact check exercise, it's very difficult to ascertain whether this particular claim that Mr. Noyce indeed visited India as verifiably true or false, right? Because it's like you don't have direct records and I don't have direct records, but that is a pretty interesting deal, right? However, it is, if the Pentium chief or the architect of Pentium is saying something, you might like to take his word at face value. Yet, the opposition can claim that it is fake news, and nobody will be able to prove that it's not, right? So that's the insight. It's all about framing. But lost decades is a very interesting pitch. Do you think it works as a pitch as far as the business ecosystem is considered? Right? Vinod Dham, yeah, Mr. Vinod Dham. So, do you think lost decades is a strong pitch as far as uh, the current administration or the current business atmosphere is considered? The lost decade. Well, it makes sense because there's a lot of disdain in the business community that license Raj has been very, very detrimental to its growth. However, I don't think it's a very good pitch for the government to take anymore, right? I don't think, because the counter pitch can be that where are we going now, right? So that is a discussion which we are going to continue with another story which is related, which is about the Indian jet story. But first, I should address a few comments. Parth Zala, Mr. Parth Zala says, I met Shantanu Naidu, aide of Sir Ratan Tata, yes, yesterday in a local train. Wow. It was such a humbling experience and I learned so much through a short conversation. Just wanted to share the same. Very beautiful. Very nice. Mr. Srinivas Bakshi wrote, Vinod Dham you mean. You're right, sir. Mr. Bakshi. Let's move on. So the lost decades has been an interesting pitch. And Mr. Rajnath Singh, who happens to be the defense minister right now, is talking about the jet engine plan. So viewers of Thinkers Frequency would remember that India is trying to make its own jet engine because that's the heart of the fighter aircraft game, right? Now India has been trying to do that for like many, many decades. Many decades. So if you remember, we talked about how India has failed as far as delivery of things is considered, especially the defense play. We talked about how Arjun tank was sanctioned in the country in the 1980s, and then it got inducted in 2016. By the time it was there, by the time it was inducted, it was basically outdated. And India had to essentially get T-90s from Russia. That's just one case. The Tejas aircraft was sanctioned in 1976, right? And it was inducted just a few years ago, and by the time the bus has been missed. However, jet engines has been an even worse story. Then there's INSAS, the DRDO rifle. So they wanted to create a rifle, an indigenous rifle called INSAS, and it turned out to be so bad that Nepal actually returned it. They didn't even give the courtesy to store it because the rifle jammed, right? So manufacturing is very hard, and India has been very under invested in manufacturing as of now, and that particular thing has hurt us in a lot of ways, which is also a part of the lost decades play. However, that cannot be used as a claim, because even in this last 10 years, the progress we've made has not exactly been revolutionary as far as many areas are considered. The problem with the pitch is that pitch is supposed to be, the frame is supposed to be a kill shot. A kill shot. If you're talking in defense terms, it's supposed to be a kill shot, right? Kill shot is that this is what they did and this is what we did, right? But the problem is that the government's arm, which is bureaucracy, has not been very conducive to a lot of things the government wants to claim that it has done successfully. So that is sort of an issue of not that pitch essentially being slightly inadequate. But the point is, let's talk about jet engines. Ambitious launch of Kaveri engine had begun in 1986. Okay, from 1986 this has been going on. 1986 is like 40 years ago. So Kaveri engine started in 1986. It was originally slated to complete by 1996 in 10 years, right? But then budget overruns happened. 382 crores were parked in the beginning. Uh, 382 crores were parked in the beginning. That budget got ballooned to 1300 crores by 2004, by 2000 crores by 2014, and then 2839 crores by 2016, right? And now that budget, which was essentially initially 382 crores, has crossed 3000 crores, right? 3000 crores. Well, that is supposed to happen because delays happen and so on and so forth. 380 crores of that era means something else here, right? So that is bound to happen. However, we have not been able to deliver it because of a lot of problems that also came in the way. So in 1998 we had the Pokhran, and in 1998 we essentially got sanctioned, due to which we stopped getting a lot of supplies. We had tied up with the French company, which is now the company we are dealing with for the jet engines. It's Safran, right? So that all happened. Then we also wanted to make a tunnel to actually test the engine. That the construction of that got delayed. The procurement, the essentially approval of that got delayed by not just years but essentially decades, right? And right now we are in 2024 and it's still not complete, right? So it's actually now Mr. Rajnath Singh is saying that we are going to have something going on as far as this particular play is considered. In the meanwhile, Tejas, the aircraft which I talked about, which was supposed to use this engine, 2025, we are in 2025, I'm sorry Mr. Patil, I forgot. But Tejas got heavy, so the engine specifications that were earlier for the lighter plane, they got outdated, right? So a lot of these things happened. Engine weight, plane weight, everything changed. The testing areas changed, and so on and so forth. Now, political instability till 2004 led whatever it led. And then basically Kaveri story is behind us, and we are now looking at clearing this particular thing. Now, this is a good news. Can anybody tell me where the good news is? Whatever I told you, as far as the whole debacle is considered, there is a good news here. What is that good news here? Can you guess? Can you guess the good news? You must be able to guess the good news, right? At least the old viewers of Thinkers Frequency might just be able to do that. What's the good news? The good news is that the defense budget is essentially getting manufacturing, says Mr. Tarun. Yes, the defense budget is getting a relook. Now, India spends only 1.9% of its GDP as far as defense is considered, okay? In the meanwhile, Pakistan allocates 2.8% and China allocates 3.7%. 3.7% China, Pakistan 2.8%, India only 1.9%. And we know where this 1.9% goes, right? India's defense budget is $80 billion. How much of this $80 billion actually goes into procurement of new material, whether it be from outside or inside, right? Just $20 billion. How much of this $20 billion actually goes into making of stuff and getting stuff, right? You know the numbers. We know the numbers. About $15 billion goes into the Make in India Atmanirbhar thing. $5 billion goes into procurement of stuff. So we have a lot of scope as far as improving our defense budget as a share of GDP is considered. So imagine if we are at 1.9% and if we look at the recommended range of 3 to 3.5%, which is almost double, which means that India's recommended range of defense budget is 160, 150, 140 billion dollars. Right now it sits at $80 billion, which means as a percentage share, we're almost going to double our manufacturing budget, double our procurement budget from outside, right? How does that sound to you for the defense stocks that we have right now, right? It sounds good. Obviously it sounds good. It also sounds very, very good for what can happen as far as private market participation is considered. And that's what the government is essentially trying to spur a lot of private participation in the defense play is considered. So it's very important, and we are glad. But what it says is that maybe the lost decades pitch of Modi ji and Ashnavi Vaishnav sir might not be the right place to go, because it's gonna bite them, right? As a pitch, it might just bite them. What do you think about that? I'll address a few comments. The percentage share of manufacturing in 2014 to now is on a decline, as I last read. Well, that cannot be true. And even if that was true, it just signals that the other sectors of the economy are growing faster than they were. No, but that cannot be true, because India's manufacturing has only grown, right? We are looking at $1 trillion worth of exports. What was our export value 10 years ago? It was about 300 billion. So that cannot be true, Mr. Tiwari. That cannot be true. Moving on. RBI greenlights SMBC plan to buy up to 25% in Yes Bank, 24.99%. SMBC is Sumitomo, banking, which is essentially going to take over Yes Bank. Yes Bank had a turnaround by SBI. The government stepped in. They caught Mr. Rana Kapoor, and everything just went and crashed. Yes Bank is still a legal story, right? So Sumitomo has taken over 24.99%. Green light given by RBI, and then it's gonna raise stake and so on and so forth. So it's yet to be cleared by the CCI, Competition Commission of India, but it's gonna be good, right? So this is obviously a good news for Yes Bank, because SBI came, rescued the bank, going out of the way, as it should be. Great execution, no problem. Moving on. Healthcare chains set their hearts on foreign patients. Now, SBI is a great org, really, despite being a government organization. Says Mr. Patil. Well, that Mr. Patil, you might be right, but because SBI's numbers have been better than even private banks. But it's a government organization, so you can't really say anything about that. It's highly government driven kind of a play. But yeah, it definitely is working well in every way possible, except for the joke that they're saying, right? They always have this joke that SBI lunch ke time pe aana and stuff. I don't know much about that joke, but to be honest, I'll need to study SBI to be able to give you a very good view. All in all, what I've seen is public sector banks are really beating private banks in a lot of places, black and blue, and we've discussed that a lot. So SBI is obviously the flag bearer of the public sector bank story. So there's truth to that. The story was, healthcare chains set their hearts on foreign patients. Well, have you ever noticed, if you've relatives and friends abroad, that they suddenly have this desh ki mitti which pulls them back to the country, and then you realize that they had like a medical procedure or a dental procedure that they had to take care of in India. You've noticed that, right? So that is medical tourism, because India is a very good country as far as medical treatments are considered. It's a very cheap kind of a play. It's easier and cheaper for somebody to actually make the trip, makes the trip to, let's say, from Canada to India, meet the family, have fun for a week or two, get the dental process done, get it checked for 2 weeks, make sure it's okay, and go back to Canada, and it's still cheaper than what it'll be in Canada, right? Have you noticed? That is medical tourism. So a lot of people from Africa, a lot of people from Europe, a lot of people from America essentially like coming to India as far as medical tourism is considered, and that is a great economy. That's a very good business opportunity also, by the way. It's a service business, but it means real money. What you ought to be doing is sort of sourcing people from abroad who are looking forward to cheaper treatments, get them everything arranged in India, and then send them back, and it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and that's what's happening. So foreign patients getting treatment in India, some numbers. 2020, it was 180,000, 1,80,000. 2024, it was 6,50,000. So you can imagine, right? 180 to 6,50,000. So what's the growth rate in 4 years? Essentially, it's almost four times. Almost four times. So I see many people from African countries in Hyderabad for medical. So that's medical tourism, Mr. Tiwari. Mr. Sumant Kumar says root canal treatment costs approximately £700 in the UK. £700 is how much money? 100 rupees per pound, right? 7,000, 70,000 bucks. 70,000? That's it? That's it? 70,000? And they can make a trip and come back to India for a root canal? Well, okay. All right, but they do. That's the beauty of it. So a lot of medical tourism, some numbers I was throwing, right? Costs up to 1/3 to 1/4 of Western hospitals, great nursing support staff, and so on and so forth. Right now, the share in DM chain is essentially about 5%. They're looking at scaling it up to 10%. They're trying to double their medical tourism bill, essentially the medical tourism market share, or not market share, but share of revenue as far as their overall pie is considered. So a lot of more beds, a lot more VIP kind of facilities, and it's gonna work out, right? So that's the play. Moving on. Maybe they schedule 2-3 procedures together to make the economics work. That's an intelligent counter, Mr. Patil. Exactly. Oh yes, because root canal procedure, is not just a one-shot thing, right? It takes at least 3 or 4 appointments, and over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, and so on and so forth. Maybe that brings the prices up. But Mr. Sumant Kumar lives in UK, so let him shed some more light on it. But you're right, root canal and dental treatments are not one shot and kill. They need multiple visits over sometimes a couple of weeks or 2-3 weeks, and so on and so forth. So medical tourism is just a green business. There's plain and simple money. Big infrastructure meant, Mr. Tarun says, big investment on new infrastructure near airport for easier access. They are already working on that, right? That's why do you think Jewar Airport has such a big prospect? The Jewar Airport, the one beyond Greater Noida, is to spur up that particular economy in UP, amongst a lot of things. But it's a very big priority, because that's some simple forex, And with that medical tourism, these people also travel, they can come and they travel, and so on and so forth. Great opportunity. Moving on. India's seafood exports are touching $7.5 billion in FY25. That is, a lot of it is coming from US and China and so on and so forth, which is going to be a bit of a bad news, because US has laid tariffs, and shrimp industry, which is approximately, a lot of it goes to US. It's going to get hurt like never before, right? At least for the short and medium term. So that is a bit of a problem. But seafood exports touch 7.5 billion. Frozen shrimp alone fetched 43,000 crore. 43,000 crore is 5 billion approximately. So half of it is 43% of the export volume and nearly 70% of the dollar earnings. So that's that. Yeah, 5 billion. I was right. Moving on. Yes. US remained the leading market in value terms, importing 2.71 billion of seafood exports, of India. So out of the 7.5 billion, 2.7, that's essentially one third of whatever shrimps India exports, that goes to US, which is gonna get hurt. So it's sad. Moving on. CBI has, by the way, booked Mr. Anil Ambani in an SBI loan fraud case. So troubles are not dying down for Mr. Anil Ambani, which is very, very surprising, right? Because the government was very much in favor of Mr. Ambani, and it looked like things were turning around, at least for Reliance Infra, which had got into net zero debt level. Reliance Infra was also looking at raising 6,000 crores because it did well, and we talked about how Reliance Infra actually uh, you know build, operate and transfer model it did for one of its tolls for about 2,000 crores, where it got 600 crores in cash proceedings and 1,400 crore for others. So things were happening, but Mr. Ambani is going through a really complicated time where one part of his company is starting to do well and it's looking green, but the ghosts of the past are still haunting him, right? And those troubles are not dying down at all. So you got to think, what is going on with that? I mean, what do you smell? It's very complicated, very complicated, because the government essentially, on its part, actually wanted to has saved the Reliance Defense kind of a play. If you remember, whole Rafale deal and so on and so forth, where the government said that no, Reliance Defense is essentially a worthy vendor for whatever they were trying to, worthy partner. But things are not dying down. The net is cast, and Mr. Ambani's team is at work. The legal team. By the way, who will earn? Who will make the money till all of this happens? So old viewers of Thinkers Frequency know who will make the money till all of this happens. You know the answer, right? You know the answer to that question. Who makes the money? Lawyers make the money. Mr. Padal, Mr. Tarun, you're so right. Lawyers make money till everything happens. Moving on. Corporate America's newest activist investor, Donald Trump. Well, this is in reference lawyers, Mr. Sumant Kumar says as well. So people are really talking a lot about Mr. Trump's involvement in Intel. So Intel and Mr. Trump had a very interesting story. Why? Because first, Mr. Trump said that Lip Bhutan, the CEO of Intel, needs to be fired, needs to step down because he's conflicted. He said that he has a lot of investments in China, which is not cool, right? Then Lip Bhutan, Mr. Lip Bhutan said, no, sir, I'm clean. You know, the disclosure said otherwise, but he said, I'm clean. And Mr. Trump met him and he said, oh, he's clean. He has an amazing story. Then the tune changed to the effect that Trump said that they're going to get like 10% on Intel, off Intel, for about $8.9 billion. Yeah. So Intel would be valued at $89 billion and US government will get a 10% stake, right? Why? Because they had like $19 billion given to them for the $11 billion worth of CHIPS Act project, right? So Intel is a very important company for America. You know, while the mighty has fallen, look at Nvidia, it's worth $4 trillion. Intel is worth $89 billion, less than $100 billion. When Nvidia began, or let's say until the recent past, Nvidia was nothing as compared to Intel, right? Intel was the flag bearer. Andy Grove sir was the legend. But America really needs to save Intel because it is very important for the country. It's like if they let Intel fall, it's gonna be a big blow, and their dependence on a few companies will really cause problems. So the companies should not, countries should not be dependent on a few companies. There should be redundancy as far as that play is considered. So that and a few other things, like Mr. Trump also had a deal with Nvidia, where he said that we're gonna have 15% cut in for the H20s that you're giving to China, right? The H20s you're giving to China, we'll get 15%. So first of all, he said no H20s for China. Then he said, okay, you can sell H20s, but you need to give us 15%. So those kinds of deals essentially have likened the US government, you know, as an activist investor, which is something interesting. So he has essentially said that you need to do this. China, on the other hand, has said that we don't want the H20 because there might just be a backdoor access and in the H20s, And with that backdoor access, they could have a switch that could turn off the semiconductors which are supplied to China by Nvidia. So Nvidia is the most important company of the world right now. As Mr. Peter Thiel said, 90%, almost 100% of all profits in AI, basically 100% of all profits in AI are being made by Nvidia alone, right? So a lot of it is going on. It's decided to wind down its production of H20 for China, and it's looking at something else. And Trump has said that you got to enhance that chip in a negative way, make it like 50% worse for China. So that's very interesting. Very interesting. Coca-Cola considers sale of Costa Coffee. Costa Coffee is that coffee chain, of course. It has fallen by the wayside. You know, it was acquired in 2018 for $5 billion, and it's now up for block. We don't know how much it's gonna cost, right? And but it's not gonna be a lot. It's not gonna be a lot. This business has proven to be more difficult than people's imaginations. Even in India, we've talked about how coffee chains have done in India, not very well, right? And even Starbucks in India has not really done very well money making wise. So slightly complicated time. 50 countries, 1,300 outlets. Private equity might. There's a deep report done by Ipsos, done by Glideen or Ashley Madison. Mr. Neeraj Kumawat says, but good startups coming in coffee space in India. Well, they're all set for a rude awakening, Mr. Kumawat. And they're already in that rude awakening, and they're finding it hard to deal with. But let's see till when they can actually stay on course. It's gonna be a rude awakening. We've discussed that. Viewers of Thinkers Frequency know. The basis of those investments have been per capita consumption of coffee in India. They say per capita consumption of coffee in India is some, let's say, 0.9, kgs or something. I don't know that number. It's 10 times in China and 15 times in US and so on and so forth. But maybe Indians don't like coffee. Maybe you're not counting the per capita income disparity of India, right? $2,800 versus $20,000 in China, 80,000 in US. So maybe that thesis is a little wrong in itself, right? So that has been our reading of the situation. And viewers of Thinkers Frequency know what we do this show for, right? Viewers of Thinkers Frequency, can you say why we sit an hour in the morning and do this, right? Mr. Tarun, I guess, said something like that. What we do is we try to look into the future. We try to predict the future, right? As Mr. Musk said, the only good sign, or the only to look into the future, says Mr. Patil, says Mr. Tarun, to look into the future. As Mr. Musk has said very recently, the true test of intelligence is your ability to predict the future. And that's what we do here. So we've predicted that the coffee chains in India will not go as planned. So let's see what that turns out. By the way, a lot of it has already been proven to be right, because a lot of coffee chains have not done well as compared to the projections that they had in mind. So we are already onto something there. Moving on. So I was talking about affair market. So there's a lot of affairs going on as far as marriage, the marital institution is considered. There's a lot of extramarital affairs happening, right? In Muzaffarpur, a husband suspects his wife of weekend escapades. He hires a private investigator who poses as a milkman and stations near their home. The wife steps out at dawn and returns at noon. A quick trace of her route ends up at the guest house, contradicting her claims of a temple visit. So she's talking about going to a temple, but it's actually a guest house. So this is a pretty, a pretty solid thing. It's not a joke, man. It might sound funny to the people who are not going through any of this, but it's not a joke. You know what's not a joke? The numbers are not a joke. The number says Glidine, an extramarital dating app in France, has its user base shot up by almost 300%, right? 3 million users, 30 lakh users, and 3.5 million. Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai led the charts, but Jaipur, Lucknow, Bhopal also claim. Ashley Madison. Now, a lot of people might remember Ashley Madison as the platform which had all of its data leaked and data essentially, hacked. So that platform also is leading to, 85 million active users overall, and India is one of the top markets, top 5 global markets. So people are saying that Ipsos is a market research company, is saying that 61% of Indian users believe monogamy is a social imposition, and 41% believe that it goes against human nature. Well, that is obviously not a good play, And then there are a lot of pseudo intellectual, explanations for this, which these companies are trying to give, that it's about loneliness, it's about not feeling heard, and so on and so forth. Some people are also saying, some of these companies are also saying that a lot of times the chats don't lead to meetups. That means it's not about infidelity, it's just about being heard. But I call bullshit. I call total bullshit. Obviously a lot of chats are not going to lead to meetups. What do you think? It's a joke, right? A lot of times, your milk delivery also doesn't lead to delivery. The plans don't work out. Doesn't mean that it's just impossible whatever is going on. A very good friend actually came to my house, and a beautiful guy, very very lovely person, he and his wife came here, and I gave them a book, man. So they were both lawyers, and I gave them a book. I gift books to people. So I gave them a book. It was The Inheritors by Sonu Bhasuin ma'am, right? I said, you're both lawyers. Maybe this leads to a very strong legal team, and thus a lasting institution, because they were supposedly good lawyers. But instead what happened was that girl left him in a year, man. And now she's suing him for inheritance. So it's a very tricky market as far as the discrete economy is going up. A lot of companies are leading to changing business models, like Arli Hotels is a very good business model, big business model. My friend used to run a company called Stay Uncle, so he pioneered the Arli Hotel, the couple-friendly hotel thing in India. And then he got steamrolled by Oyo, which entered into his business. And then Oyo left that business because Oyo is a dumpster fire truck on steroids, right? So Stay Uncle is not mentioned in the article, unfortunately, but some guys are. I'll say who those people are. My Stay, Brevi Stay, Arli Rooms. So these companies, even Make My Trip is aggregating couple-friendly hotels by the hour. So this business model is clearly growing, which signals that it is basically not a good time to marry, right? Oh my god. Whew. Chills. It's hot in here. Man. The shit people are pulling every day. Supply chain will go finer. Oh man, just look at the examples, man. She's talking about going to the temple, and is going to the guest house, man. It's like, why do you bring God into the equation? Is my question. Why bring God into the equation? Like, you're marrying, you essentially bring God into play. You Agni ko sakshi mankar, you actually do that. Then you get the legal system into the play, right? You involve the law of the nation, and then you get families into play, and then you change your habitat. All of that for essentially all of this. It's just 40% share of new users on Glidden from non-metro cities. So Glidden and Ashley Madison, two big apps. Divorce lawyers will mend, says Mr. Tiwari. That is very, very good reading of the situation. Who makes money? Lawyers make money. right? Divorce lawyers, even these marriage counselor guys, the psychiatrists and so on and so forth, the trust separation people, they will make a lot of money. It's a good business to be in that play. Uh, Mr. Singh says, I think a lot of that is also PR and get more users. No, it's not PR. It's not PR actually. It's an Ipsos study. And while I get that Ipsos study has been funded by Glidine, and so they will try to push it. But there are many studies on this, right? Many studies on this, which is essentially, you know what, a very good way, Mr. Singh, to figure out BS is follow the money. Okay, you just got to follow the money, and suddenly the fog of BS will just get away. Follow the money. So do you look at divorce cases going up or divorce lawyers going up? You see psychiatrists and psychologists, marriage counselors going up. Do you think billing of those people going up, right? Do you think the hotel guys going up, the guest houses, the couple friendly hotels going up, and so on and so forth? A lot of signals. If you just follow the money, you don't even need to look at the news, right? You just follow the money. So it makes all the sense in the world. Moving on. There's another BS thing that they've done a report on. It is return of the reading. Okay, the deep dive is return of the reading. Now, what is trending is Gen Z has brought a new vocabulary and trends around reading that makes books feel part of online culture. And what's their proxy of reading is essentially book events and Instagram pages on books. Now, do you think an Instagram page or an Instagram community on books is any indication of book reading as a phenomena? Do you think people are reading more books now? Do you think it makes any sense whatsoever to claim that Gen Z, just because it's clicking pictures in front of Fakir Chand bookstore, right? And, all these bookstores, they are reading more? That is a total lie. And now they say that these reading groups are propping up. Mr. Neeraj Kumar say they're writing more for sure. Okay. Mr. Dave D says no. So a lot of now Mr. Tiwari says it's social signaling. How was the interview with Mr. Bichandani, sir? I've already talked about that. People are less into books and more into reels, of course. Now the question is, the culture of bookstagram, or the culture of, let's say, reading communities, and the culture of book cafes, is that a good proxy of book reading in general, right? And what is a better indicator of figuring out whether this is actually true? So if I want to say that this is a lie, how do I prove that this is a lie, right? Now these people are saying that they have community numbers on their side. They have new people joining the community. They have new people joining the bookstagram pages, new people interacting with those pages, and so on and so forth. That's what we have. Why are you saying this is a lie? Okay. Now, somebody says, Mr. Dev D says, book sales. Mr. Patil also says of books. Mr. Dev D says library membership, book sales are writer making money, and so on and so forth. Now, those are not really great indicators. You know what? Because books have a really solid decorative value. Okay? Books have a lot of vanity value. So I've gone to a lot of people's houses and I've found out books on their shelves, and I've asked them about the books, and they didn't know what they were, right? So they just kept books which were trending, which were for virtue signal or social signaling, because they looked pretty. So they hadn't read the books. In some cases, they went as far as pretending to have read the books But then they backed out, knowing that I had read those books, and it would have been an awkward conversation, right? So sales of books are definitely not an indicator. Would you like to give another shot at what would be a better indicator to actually ensure that this was indeed a lie? Would you like another shot? You have a minute. You have like 10-15 seconds. Mr. Tiwari says your background is too much books. I know you have read. Yeah. So I used to run a campaign called 52 Books in a Year. And I did that campaign from 2012 to 2022, where I didn't read 52 in any of those years, but I averaged 40. So in those 11 years, I ended up reading like 450 books, most of which are behind, and many of them are gifted. So I smell that bullshit very, very quickly, right? And I start asking questions people around the books that they claim to read, that they claim to have read, right? And it turns into very, very fascinating, hilarious conversations. Screen time. You got a clap, Mr. Tarun. You've got a clap. Screen time is the perfect indicator to actually figure out whether people are lying or not. That's the correct answer, right? If screen time numbers are high, reading time numbers cannot be high, and if reading time numbers are not high, it's gone. No, Mr. Kumawat says, but you do read books on screen also. That's not where the screen time goes. Now, screen time also has categories. So, India on an average spends like 6.5 hours on the smartphone, and only 1.5 hours of it is utilitarian, and about 2 hours go to YouTube, about 1.5 hours go to social networking. So that's about 3.5 hours, and then 1 hour or something goes to the OTT and so on and so forth. So most of the time which goes into screen is not reading. So if reading started showing some signs, most of the books that people buy on Kindle, they are not 92% of books don't have a completion rate, right? So people don't read. Also, people spend a lot of time on listening to books on Audible and other streaming platforms instead of actually making the effort of reading. So screen time is the perfect argument to actually like demolish this lie that Gen Z is reading, right? And it's a very, very good proxy for where the money is flowing, right? Where is the money flowing? This is where the money is flowing. Moving on. But, even these guys, what they're saying is Bookstagram, aesthetic reading, sharing aesthetic photos of annotated margins, color-coded tabs, underlined quotes. Like, of course, no shit, Sherlock. Events. So that is clearly a sham. But screen time is a very terrific way of knowing where this is going. Reading books while playing music or using some other app. Well, what are you like? No, books are not read like that mostly. That's a very exceptional case. Moving on. Mr. Musk, there's an update on Mr. Musk, who stabbed Mr. Zuckerberg in a $100 billion OpenAI bid, but Meta stayed out of Musk's $97.1 billion offer, which OpenAI's board rejected. So Mr. Musk was trying to take over OpenAI. There's a lot of legal feud which is going on as far as Mr. Musk and OpenAI is considered. Mr. Musk was one of the founders of OpenAI. He gave the company the name OpenAI. He gave them a $100 million check. He was one of the first few people who gave them money. He also hired people for OpenAI. The Mr. Ilya, it's a very complicated name, but let me say it. That's what you come to me for, right? For butchering people's name. Ilya Sutskever. Again, Ilya Sutskever. Oh, it's not that complicated. Ilya Sutskever. So he hired Mr. Ilya Sutekever. You were wrong, Mr. Kumawat. Yeah, so you spelled it wrong as well. You, I'm not aware. I'm not alone. But anyway, so he gave them money, and he gave them people, and he named the company and so on and so forth. And then what they did was they just changed from a non-profit model to a for-profit model, and they essentially just ate the money. They just ate the money, right? So that's the play, right? And he essentially castigated he literally had a fight. He keeps having those fights when on Twitter with Mr. Sam Altman. So that's going on. So he tried buying OpenAI, didn't work. The news is that he tried getting Zuckerberg on board despite having that competition with him, right? Where he said, come into the MMA ring and I'll beat the shit out of you. That's what they had. But essentially that didn't stop him from calling him in on the deal. Because why? Because Meta also has a lot to lose as far as the whole OpenAI and the AI game is considered, right? We've talked a lot about this. We've talked how AI's rise is Meta's fall, because time taken by AI, time taken or time going into ChatGPT is time stolen from Instagram, time stolen from Facebook, and so on and so forth. And more the people start talking to these agents, the more time they're gonna go away from Meta, which is a very, very bad news for Meta. That's why probably Mr. Musk actually called him on the deal. Didn't work out. However, Mr. Musk has a really interesting vision for the future. Okay, so hear this out and just imagine what this means. Okay, Mr. Musk has Starlink. Starlink has a terminal. What he wants to do is make AI, make operating system obsolete. So if you want AI to have, let's say, a word, it'll open the word as by an AI itself. It doesn't need to. So they made a replacement. They're looking at making a replacement of MS Office with AI. Okay, wanted an Excel sheet, it comes on. It goes away from operating system. You just talk to the AI and it does everything, right? So he has the internet provider. He has the terminal, which is a device, which is like a mobile phone or whatever. He has all the tools that go into that phone through AI, right? It becomes MS Office, it becomes MS Word, it becomes everything, right? So he takes over the internet provider, the mobile phone business, Microsoft business, and Apple's business, essentially, while also being in the car play. So that's what Mr. Musk is trying. What's the chance of this working out? Not technologically or not business wise, but regulatorily, right? How is regulation going to allow a company with such a vertical integration of products? Time will tell, right? No, it won't need permission from Microsoft to build a competitor to Microsoft, Mr. Dave D, right? So that doesn't, it's not that, right? So he's saying that he's gonna make like competitor to Microsoft Office independently. So right now is competition to Microsoft. Google Workspace is competition to Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Office. Then there's Zoho, which has, there's an open source player called Liber, which works, and so on and so forth. So he makes that, and he essentially cuts them out. So that's what he's trying. Like satellite, so you have the internet, you have the device, you have the software that goes into the device, and you have AI, which is Grok AI. So Libre Open Office. Yeah, I've used Libre, by the way. I used to use Libre. So that's just extraordinary. What is the probability of success of this endeavor? Less than 10%. Less than 10%. But even if it's above 1%, he's onto something, right? Because even if it's just above 1%, he's gonna make some of it, and if it makes some of it, it's gonna add to extraordinary economic value. Mr. Musk has already said that the next year is gonna be when he launches robotaxi, and also what's that thing he's launching next year? Robotaxi and Optimus, the humanoid robot, right? Which has the highest interest in the history of all products that have been launched. And he says it could make Tesla into a $20 trillion company. $20 trillion company. While it's obviously working on Grok AI. So extraordinary stuff going on with that, you know. Meta is looking at partnering with Midjourney to license its AI technology. Meta has all the chips to lose if it loses the AI battle. So it's trying its very best to capture people's imagination. It's trying to position itself as a pioneer. It's trying to do everything it can, essentially, to stay afloat, which is causing, which is not making any special move, but a lot of news, right? So it's continuously losing ground to AI, and it's not just the only player which is losing ground. The most to lose with the whole AI revolution are Google and Facebook, and that's what's happening. Moving on, there is a rude awakening for all the EV buyers which have been participating in the Indian EV transformation story because of lack of after sales service. So insurance doesn't want to cover it. Insurance can't cover EV problems so much because 40% of EV cost is essentially battery, and the IC engine problems are like identified and insurance is approved within hours. When it comes to EVs, it sometimes takes days, weeks, months. So it becomes a very bad idea to essentially, buy an EV because the after sales network, the service network, isn't that robust, and the insurers also don't want to indulge in that, in those set of problems, right? Which sort of makes sense, right? That's why the two-wheelers are such a big problem, right? So now when I was building Spot Health, we bought like 6 EVs as a part of our food carts and as a part of our delivery vehicles. And man, that was a hemorrhoid. Like I literally paid for hemorrhoids, right? It was a pain in the ass, man. It was just next level, whatever was happening with those EVs. And I bought Hero Electrics. Oh my god, I shouldn't have done that, but I knew then that whoever is getting into the train is on God's mercy, right? And that's what people are essentially figuring out. The insurance industry, confusion over insurance coverage, outright claim rejections, delay in vehicle repairs, battery being 40% of the play, the company not being able to figure out what the problem is, and so on and so on and so on. Lacking awareness, leading to a lot of problems. Speaking of problems, by the way, Nayara's problems are not going away. Nayara is the Rosneft and RIL joint venture. We've talked a lot about this. Viewers of Thinkers Frequency would remember. Nayara is 49% Rosneft, is the Russian company, and 51% is Reliance. So it directly didn't get sanctioned, but a lot of companies started staying away. It couldn't sell its oil. Taking the dark fleet route to essentially make the oil shipments happen. Now its EPC unit has been hit, right? EPC's engineering, procurement and construction unit, very, very problematic. 2 companies stay away from tenders. Not cool. Troubles not dying for Nayara. Now this isn't surprising, and it's just not happening. Mr. Tarun has a very intelligent comment. Swappable batteries are better for delivery vehicles. No, so swappable batteries are not just better for delivery vehicles. It's better for the overall EV ecosystem. That you don't buy the batteries at all. That instead of getting it charged, you essentially get the batteries replaced, every time that you're using the whole play. And that works wonders. But it's unfortunately not proven to be as feasible, operationally. It's not easy. But with that, we are going to come to an end of Thinker's Frequency. The 91st episode, our first episode at the prime time, and the numbers were definitely insane, man. Insane. Like 8 9 regular viewers on YouTube, 8 9 regular viewers on LinkedIn, right? Peak viewers of what's the peak viewers, 10 no 11, and peak viewers of 12 on LinkedIn. That's phenomenal. So of course it's easier for people to join at this hour, 9 to 10 p.m., but we're not going to do this because it screws up my work schedule. The morning routine is good. It's a good routine, so we'll stick to the morning. We come to the end of the 91st episode of Thinker's Frequency, our daily mental workout, our daily dose of insights and analysis which don't lead to paralysis, right before we punch in. Oh, we didn't punch in, right after we punched in. I hope you had a good time. I had a lot of fun, especially the screen time insight that Mr. Tarun caught. That was piece of cake for me. I'm sorry, cherry on the cake for me. It was amazing. I want to thank Mr. Patil, Mr. Tarun, Mr. Elevate at Life, Mr. Singh, Mr. Parth Zala, Mr. Srinivas Baki, Mr. Sumant Kumar, Mr. Neeraj Kumawat, Mr. Dev D, and everybody else who joined, right? So that was amazing. I loved it. I hope it added a lot of value to you. I hope it was fun. And I'll see you same place, but not the same time. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Good night and take care. Bye-bye.